You're on a big farm by yourself with your family. You're scared. That's why you have guns. You're scared. It's a scary place to be.
I did 10 minutes with Dave Rubin. What triggered you? What did I I didn't mention genocide. There is no genocide. There is no genocide. I agree. On land expropriation, the bill is the horrific thing, keeps away foreign direct investment. But are land being invaded? Maybe tiny here and there, but it's not really happening. I agree with you. And Ernst didn't say that, and I didn't say it. So what triggered you on my Dave Rubin? It was 10 minutes only.
White farmers are being targeted. And now I've given certain numbers. And they don't necessarily give the numbers. The numbers they do give is a number which has not been verified of 4,000 farmers have been killed. And then they show a picture of white crosses where they've been where farmers were buried. And you can imagine watching this, how this would trigger you.
So we've got some boerewors, got some lamb, got some beef, got wings, 2 ways, pelican herb and lemon pepper, got some pap on the side, some shatini in the traditional rural potted samples.
Have you had pap before?
Delicious.
The Hustler's Corner, Zakes Kitchen. We're recording this at the cooking studio. Zakes Kitchen will officially be available on Uber Eats starting from Easter weekend. Order, check out our meals. Let us know what you think of our menu over there. And as soon as you get your deliveries, just record some videos there, take some images, and share it under the hashtag Zakes Kitchen on any of your social media platforms. You're more than welcome to do so. As PENUEL is picking this up on the floor, I'd like to welcome my old buddy. I missed him, my brother. Yeah,
Hey, calm down.
Baba Mlocho, here you go. Welcome
Thank
to
you
Zakes
so much,
Kitchen.
Zakes.
Atim Zakes, I'm not.
No, phela ngibonga Zakes and the kitchen. Ngiyabonga kakhulu sibuda. No, phela sibonga Zakes for the t-shirt.
Yeah.
I know we've got microphones between us, man, but Sbu, I just want to say thank you so much. I've missed you a lot. The last time we spoke, I think we were speaking about small businesses and parenting and those things. But siyabonga kakhulu and siyabonga ukuthi Zakes man is still alive and that you've protected and preserved his brand even in his absentia.
Yeah.
So again, thank you to Zakes, but siyabonga as well to Sbuda.
And here's an apron.
Oh, says your pega.
You're cooking there at home. Here's an apron.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Cooking even on podcast, Baba. Stay cooking.
So guys, you can order our meals and check them out. We cook here like crazy. We cook. There's many kitchens over here. And we've got a gentleman that I know through PENUEL. I'm from online. I also just met him for the first time today. And I'm actually excited and looking forward to this conversation. He calls himself off camera the who was Batin Amsugela at the capturers of the nation, Mr. Rob HERSOV. How are you doing? White Capital. I'm good. How are you doing?
Longile.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Wonderful.
HERSOV. There's an apron from Zakes Kitchen.
I had Zakes lunch just now.
Yeah, what did you think?
It's delicious. Delicious. It's a winner.
Then we're in business.
Then we're in business.
And here's a t-shirt, a gift for you.
And then I've got a gift for you. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
And actually, if I'd known Pen was going to be here, I would have brought 2.
Yeah.
But here is
Tired of getting gifts from you.
yeah.
Cheers.
Here is a Bitcoin. I told you so.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, I told you
It's
so.
your Bitcoin t-shirt.
Yes. This exonerates me. I've been talking about Bitcoin.
And then this one is
yeah.
Make South Africa Great Again,
Ah,
which I think all of us will agree on. Okay, the special red. This is not EFF red. This is just a MAGA red. Okay.
Let's start over there. I mean, I appreciate you guys making time to come hang out with us at the kitchen. Let's cook. I loved what Pen was saying off air, Uguti. We're not holding anything today. You know, it's always nice to speak the truth. And that's generally how Pen is and always has been. There's a lot of matters that we have to discuss. There's a lot of things that are going on. South Africa is on the global arena right now. And those are some of the conversations that I'd like for us to get to. But the first question I'm going to ask, since you're an entrepreneur and a very successful businessman, we're building a brand new brand here and a brand new business. We went out, I think it was last month or a month and a half ago, a month and a half or so ago. We asked for some people to come on board if they're interested to invest in this business. And we've got enough people who've invested. But we also have got a huge number of people who would like to come on board the Zakes Kitchen brand because they see it. They see what it can become or the potential that it has in the future. How do you build a business and raise money? How do we, or let me put it this way, how do we get other people involved? How do we get other people who are audiences being investors of this company that we've just started?
So the first step in building a business is the product. And I've tried the product and it is superb. And if you can deliver that product consistently, every time someone orders Zakes food, they know what they're getting and it tastes as good as it did last time, or maybe a little bit better. You've got to just keep on top of that. Product quality is everything. And then be careful when you expand, because at the moment you're at Joburg, Sandton area, and just be careful, dominate the area you're in first before you expand. And on the management team, make sure you got the best people of all. Hire people better than yourself and then expand that way. And I tell you, you get great people working for you, the better than you, better than me, better than Penn, the business will grow automatically. But if you want to get people involved as investors, talk to Warren Wheatley. You know Warren. You know Warren Wheatley. He's got a fantastic business called Altvest, which will help your business. It's sort of crowdfunding, where people can come in, they love the product, and they can become small investors in your business and become your ambassadors. So let's get Warren Wheatley on the show.
So it'll be dope to have Warren Wheatley on the show. It's good that I have you here because I've been DMing them on their Instagram account and they've been blue ticking me.
Let's call him now.
Yeah, let's call him now.
This is Altvest.
Yeah. Do you know Warren?
Remember they had like billboards
all
over Joburg, all over Sandton.
Let's see who gets hold of him first. He'll probably take your call, not mine. Here we go. Okay, I'm dialing in. And is it going to ring? Warren, you're live. You're live on the DJ Spoo show on voice. So don't call me anything, okay? So DJ Spoo, here's Warren Wheatley.
Hey, good day. How you doing, Warren?
Good, yourself?
Lovely. Thank you very much. It's a great opportunity to speak to you. I'm responsible for an energy drink that I'm sure you see all over Johannesburg called Mo Fire.
Yes, I'm aware of it. You're the guy that runs out and sells it in the traffic, and that does that.
That's me. That's me. I'm starting a brand new.
We're at the same gym.
Excuse me?
I think we're at the same gym as well.
Is it?
The same.
Oh, I was not aware.
It doesn't show, guys, on either of you.
So I'm glad I'm being connected to you by Rob. I was just telling him that I'm starting a brand new food franchise. We're going to franchise it in the future. A company called Zakes Kitchen. We're basically in the food space. And I was just telling him that I've got an influx of a lot of our followers who are interested to invest in the business. And I was asking him, what do I do? And then he said, we can call you.
Yeah, so my platform allows for community ownership of projects, right?
Okay.
And what we do is we Allcast does a deal with you where it's a normal private equity transaction. We would buy a stake in your business. We then make those instruments, we chop them up into small pieces. It's called fractionalization. And the public can then buy those instruments. They'd be listed on the JSE. And they can be traded in and out, and we would use your following plus ours and whatever media is available to do a big fundraising campaign and make sure everyone knows about it.
And Warren, what's the minimum amount someone can invest to be a shareholder in Zakes?
We would set the price, so we could say 150 as an example. There's nothing turns on that. It depends on how widely accessible you want it to be.
So you could bring everyone in as shareholders. It's a great idea.
That's incredible. And what I'm going to do, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask for your details from Rob, and then I'll hit you up. And little did I know that we go to the same gym. So let's have coffee on one of these days.
Yeah, cool. Spool, we also have an SME funding business called Altvest Credit Opportunities Fund.
Okay.
Where we give debt to SMEs. So the other process takes some time because you've got to go through the listing process. But what we often do is give bridging finance in anticipation of a listing. So, we could do up to 30 or 40 million. We've done restaurants before. We're the guys who funded Tang's expansion into Dubai. We've done a restaurant in Melville, so we're very competent in the space, and you'd be quite surprised at how easily we can raise capital for you.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad that you're saying this on camera, because we've got a platform of a lot of entrepreneurs that are watching. So it's going to be a win-win. Let's have a conversation. Thank you.
Awesome. Check us out.
And Warren, you're probably lying in a Speedo by the pool, so I'm glad you're not on video. Cheers, buddy. I'll call you later.
He was trying to plug a website there, altvest.co.za.
That's okay. We'll send that to you.
Altvest.co.za. We'll put it at the bottom of the screen.
So that's one idea. But the other idea is have a look at Nando's and how they began. And maybe you should talk to Robbie Enthoven, who went to Michael House, or Robbie Brosen, the two Robbies that founded Nando's. I think it's the most valuable, privately owned fast food franchise in the world. It's still not public, it's private. And Nando's is all over the world. And get them on the show and get them to give you advice on how to take Zakes from where you are to being the next Nando's.
Which brings me to our conversation for today. Thank you very much for making that happen, right? So this is what happens when you rub shoulders with Abu PENUEL.
But maybe here's some advice for entrepreneurs. Maybe a little bit of advice here. So
yeah,
I'm 65 this year, and these guys are calling me Madala and Giza.
Yes.
Pen's calling me Giza.
There we go.
Pretty nice. I still have my hair though. And, if you meet someone in business, take down their contact details, write a little note of when you met them and maybe, their interests, something they said to you, and put it in your Outlook, put it in your diary and remember it. And just collect. Because there'll come a time when you go, I want to invest in this fast food business, Zakes, but I met somebody, and then you'll remember the person, look through your Outlook, contact them, say, we met 8 years ago and I'd love to be back in touch. You'll be amazing. People will say, good for you. Yeah, I'm happy to be in touch. Collect contacts. It's a key to networking.
This is incredible, Penzo, and I'd like for you to listen to this. The clip, you are speaking at Biz News, and you said something that relates to what has just happened now in front of everyone.
Pushing me under the bus here.
No, I'm not. But I just want you to listen to this.
South Africans excel at academics and competition. And what we need to therefore understand and acknowledge that competing with us on merit remains a scary prospect that most Black South Africans won't support. It's hard to say that. And it's also hard to say we seem to be surviving BEE. White South Africans excel at academics and competition. And what we need to therefore understand and acknowledge that competing with us on merit remains a scary prospect.
How do I compete with Rob on merit when for me to meet the Altvest CEO, it'll take me multiple meetings. I'll try and go to his office and I'll be moved from pillar to post when you can just flip up a phone and make a difference in my business in a matter of a few minutes. How do I compete with you?
I'm unique. It's not fair to compete with me. It's better to work with me. And I mean that. I was born into a wealthy family. I am the lucky, I was going to say the lucky sperm. I'm the lucky sperm cloud. Can I say that? On your show?
It's a podcast.
It's a podcast. Okay. And I am, because I was born into a very wealthy family. My mum and dad are still alive. 99, my dad, 91, my mum.
Brilliant.
They live in the house I was born in. They're still married. And I've had every opportunity in the world. You won't meet anyone like me. And I know every day I get up and I thank the Lord and I thank the spirits. I thank everyone for what I've been given, because I'm the guy. It could have happened to anyone else. But I'm very grateful for it, and I've made every opportunity. So I've just had every opportunity in life, and it's not, don't compete with me. Team up with me is what I'm saying. But I'm not right about everything. I'm not skilled in everything. And even that comment, which was clipped and taken out of context, doesn't sound very good. It doesn't. What I was trying to say, and obviously it didn't succeed, was that I was trying to put myself in the hat of someone in 1994, a black South African, and think about 1994 to today. And I would have voted for the ANC 100%. Certainly up to Mbeki, I would have voted ANC. They would have made my life better in meaningful ways. And even intermittent electricity, sewage, and water is better than none. You know, life had improved massively in South Africa for almost all South Africans under the ANC. Things went wrong when Jacob Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa took over. And I think most people will agree with that. And I was just saying the worst deficit was the education deficit. At its worst peak under apartheid, white kids had 18 times more funding than black kids. 18 times. And that education gap, it takes quite a long time to catch up. 18 times. I mean, it's not an easy gap to fill. But under the ANC, education wasn't fixed and wasn't improved. They've actually lowered the pass rate. So there is no difference between a white, black, green, yellow brain. None. Zero. Okay? Racism is a pigment of the imagination. I said it first on Penn's show. And all I was trying to say was there's an education gap, and that needs to be closed if it hasn't closed already. But it has, in my view, and I don't think South Africa needs BEDEI anymore. I think we're all of equal capability and equal opportunity. And I think this South Africa has the best potential of any country on the planet, and it's fixable.
It's interesting that, and I apologize to the both of you. I didn't tell them, guys, that we're shooting a three-way show. So they were surprised that we'll do a show together simultaneously. But I'm glad that I'm doing a show with the both of you. And I was asking you outside, Penzo, how did you guys meet?
Oh, can I take a few steps back?
Yeah.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Warren, and I'd like to thank you for raising Warren's name and Altvest. It's definitely something we need as a country, more of us. We call it plugging. Plugging people. Even in the entertainment and media industry, people always talk about open the industry or something like that. There are so many people that hog contacts and networks and resources. So when you meet people like Rob who are willing to introduce you to their friends, their connects, when you are a nobody, some people really take it for granted. And it's such a big deal because yes, Rob may come from whatever family he comes from, but we have so many family members and people in the community. It doesn't have to be billions. They know something, they know someone, but they'll never let you in. And it's something that we really need to change as a culture. If it's not going to be nationwide, then just amongst ourselves. And while you're doing it, just make sure that you're always eyes wide open, because there are people within certain circles that only leech. They don't share. When they have the opportunities, they benefit on their own. So we must always appreciate the people that share, but we must also be cognizant of the people that are leeching, because they're the ones that are going to destroy the circle completely. A big shout out to Nando's. I was privileged to meet Robbie Bros in 2012 when I opened, it was PENUEL's Fish and Chips then, close to Gandhi Square. I happened to meet Fernando Duarte, of which Nando's is named after him. And the Enthoven family, one of the most successful families in South Africa that people have never heard of, under Hollard, were some of the first investors in Nando's, just believing in kids that just had a dream. They had a shop in Rosettenville, I think it was Chickenland. Later on, I think SAP had a stake. And one of the cultures that Robbie and them have is also, just like you, Sbu, to go around finding young talent to invest in. One of them became founder of Taste Holdings, Carlo Gonzaga. Taste Holdings would bring Domino's. They started with Scooters Pizza, Starbucks, NWJ Jewelers, and the like. So when you start drawing a golden thread, you realize how many of these people someone believed in them and put them on. Robbie didn't know me from a bar of soap. He was willing to listen to this 26-year-old young black guy who wants to open a fish and chip shop that's not a franchise. And he gave me so much knowledge and wisdom. And when we speak about things like nation building, for people that don't understand, we speak about all the people that have added value at different levels. And sometimes we forget that, especially in the mix of specifically what's going on in the country now. Rob would trend locally, maybe internationally, at a business conference hosted by Alec Hogg, a Newcastle High School old boy.
Busy news, right?
Business, yeah. And shout out to Usmele Shang, the chef that gave us amakoporosh, which were absolutely delicious.
By the way, amakoporosh is our platter.
Yeah.
It's a bit of everything. Amakoporosh.
That's what we had for lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we had.
And it's a song, by the way, by Zakes man. If anyone knows Zakes, amakoporosh is one of his big hits. Shout out to Usmele Shang and shout out to everyone from Newcastle and Newcastle High School as well.
You Newcastle High boys are very smart.
No,
Because Smele is amazing. And Smele actually convinced me to get into business with him.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this guy is an incredible cook. And he's a finalist at MasterChef SA, something like that.
Yeah.
And then, we also roped in other guys and we decided to start them Zakes Kitchen. And as we were having chats, he told me that he knows you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are smart. You guys are bright.
Since primary school, man, I've known Usmele for a long time, but it goes back to this story of putting people on. You'll put me on the Hustlers Corner, you're putting Usmele on. We've spoken about Robot Boy. When the Hustlers Corner started, Abo Theo Balo and Abo Lekao, Sihoana were not as big as they were then, pushing Drip and Bar to what they've become today. Drip obviously is going through a rebranding, but their success. So I just wanted to mention that very importantly. Rob speaks at Biz News. He criticizes the ANC in a way that's never been heard of before by someone who comes from a family. I mean, when we speak about the families that built America, the HERSOVs, the Menels, the Oppenheimers, Cecil John Rhodes, Barney Bonato and others are the people that built what we know as South Africa today. And to have a legacy child stand on a platform, not hide like some of the others, and say the things he said, knowing that there may be consequences was quite refreshing. I was hiking at Hartbeespoort on that day. I was doing charity work in the Val. That afternoon, I decided to make a video. Rob likes making these selfie videos that we do as well now. So I made a selfie video. I was like, I just listened to this guy. At the time, I was calling him Rob HERSOV.
Exactly.
Which is probably the proper pronunciation, by the way.
Yeah.
So I made the video. I spoke about that speech. And I was like, I think this is what white people want from black people in South Africa. And I think this is what's going on. The clip went viral. And various people in Rob's circle, because he wasn't on social media at the time, the video got to him, which is the power of the internet. You and I have spoken about this many times. The kids that make a video, next thing they're training internationally, working with Chris Brown or whoever the case may be. So it reaches him. He finds people that can link to me. Shout out to a specific person, Dylan McKenzie.
We love Bill.
I love Dylan McKenzie. He sends me a DM via Instagram. Hey, Pen, what's up? Rob really liked your video. He was wondering if you guys could meet up when he's next in Joburg. I was like, cool. We meet up at Melrose Arch. It happens to be the same day I'm meeting Nhlanhla Lux. So Nhlanhla Lux and I were captured on the same day. Just for
And he was wearing a suit and tie.
And he was wearing a suit. I'm kidding. But I met Nhlanhla Lux on the same day. We had a chat. So you can meet Warren at gym. You can meet Rob now. And it's like, Rob, I met him once and it's whatever. But sometimes you meet someone and there's like a spark. Like when you meet a chick. I guess guys don't talk about it because it's
Ugly chick.
Donald Trump wouldn't like, But something happens when you meet a guy whose energy you vibe with. And we spoke, we debated some stuff. Our first debate was around capitalism. I said, I think it's a zero-sum game. He said there's no such thing. And people like Rob, and I'm not speaking about white people, I'm speaking about people that come from a certain level of privilege. They're not used to younger people that are not scared to challenge them
Exactly right.
on certain opinions. Like, I have nothing, but I think you're wrong. It's like, okay, this bravery, where does it come from? And from there, we'd have a lot of debates and chats. Rob would invite me to Cape Town. I'd meet people in his circles. I was like, this is what it is. To a point where when I started the PENUEL show, without asking much, he was like, I will be there. And he became one of my guests. He came through. We said we'd do something. We just don't have the time and the capacity. But we were like, if we could create mentorship programs where young people can meet people like Rob. Given Mkari tried to do the same with Johan Rupert at Power FM, where you guys can come to, and it's not so much competing with me, it's working with me. And that's where our relationship started. We built an amazing relationship. which then pissed me off like a couple of weeks ago, but we'll probably get to that
When
later.
that happened.
Oh, we can speak to it later.
let's
I was
get-
just answering the question.
The best thing about a relationship is you can argue, fight, get pissed off, block each other. But if you truly love each other, believe in each other, respect each other, it comes back again. We haven't had makeup sex. We just, we're buddies. Okay. That's it. It ends there.
On his
But
behalf,
you-
Katie, please, please,
Get
no.
jealous, Katie. But you said a very interesting thing. There are two types of people in the world: givers and takers.
Mm.
And you are truly a giver. You would give the last cent in your pocket to someone if they needed it. And it's a wonderful thing. And I knew that the day I met you. And Kevin Spacey, the famous actor that went through hell, always used to say that you've got to send the elevator back down. If you make it to the top, you make it to the top floor in life, send the elevator back down for other people.
Yeah.
And it's so true. There's so many people that have made it and they just try and make more.
Of course.
And it's just so depressing. What are you going to die trying to make more? Give back, help people. And on mentoring, which you guys raised, it's my biggest challenge and biggest regret. I get 5 requests a day, mainly from young males, mainly from young black males,
Yeah.
saying, could you please mentor me? And
They've DM'd me as well, asking
Yeah.
to get
and
to
I can't do it on a one-on-one too. I've got 5 or 6 people that I help and communicate with, Jabu, and you've met them. But I can't do it we have to find a way to do it on a broader, on a scalable basis. Particularly young guys that don't have dads, or, young guys that really want to break away from what they're in and make something extraordinary of their lives. From a business point of view, that's where I come from. I'm
Yeah.
not sure I'd be so good on a spiritual point of view. I could try. Yeah.
What you've just done for Zakes Kitchen now, you've already done your part. I'll take it over with Warren and
Yeah.
just what you've just done. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can do something so little, doesn't take so much from you. How do we do this to 100 other entrepreneurs, like what you're just talking about?
That's the challenge. Let's find a way to do it. There's so much incredible information online. If people can get online, they've got the data, they've got the connection. There's so much information online. Study AI, study blockchain, study crypto, study entrepreneurial business. Just listen. It's all there.
Yeah.
But in terms of the little bits of advice, or the connections, you've just got to take your moment.
People need to go out of their comfort zone. So as much as I get DMs of people wanting to meet Rob, I've gotten so many DMs of people wanting to meet you. And I normally give them the same advice. I'm like, if there's someone that you kind of know where they are, it's Sbu. Sbu's going to tell you, I'm going to be with Ekasi Noble Properties on this day giving a speech. We're hosting a Radio 2000 fun day at this place. You know where he'll be. Show up. Rob goes to Biz News. This is not some top secret. He's going to be there probably next year again. So make an effort. Show something. Save a bit of money, fundraise, get on a flight, book a little hostel or whatever. Get yourself there and be like, look, I'm a little boy from Ematate and Newcastle. I watched you and Pen and Sbu. And I was like, I need to meet you. So I saved money, and I wanted to come meet you. Now you've got 30-second elevator pitch. How do I make sure that I'm memorable? And even if, again, this is the story just of life. I guess it's the alchemist. I meet Rob on the day. I hustle to, hi, Mr. HERSOV. What? How many other potential people am I going to meet there? And you find out that it actually wasn't Rob you were meant to meet on that day. It's someone else.
Correct.
But because you went out of your comfort zone, too many people want to be spoon-fed. When you look at all the examples of the people we just named now, black, white entrepreneurs, all of them went out of their comfort zone because we can only go so far. I've met Rob. You don't need to meet Rob. You can meet me. And then I'll give you something and then you must meet someone else and pay it forward. Don't suck Sbu till he's a vampire, skeleton. Get what you need from him. You're like, okay, I can't get Sbu, but I know he's meant to do robot boy. How to like robot boy and learn something. I know Uti Obalo has learned some things from Sbu. I know Unotes has learned. This obsession with I need to meet, what is he going to do for you? I want to meet Patrice. Patrice is not going to invest 10,000 rand.
No, he's not.
That's your mom or your dad. You go to him when the time is right. You can meet him and then just look at the guys around and take it from there. But you need to get out of your comfort zone.
So true. At the business conference, this recent one, this guy, Ryan Pelser, basically almost dive tackled me. He wouldn't let me go. He was just there, And eventually said, I've got to have 10 minutes of your time. I went, all right, here's my email, because I don't want to give my mobile.
Yeah.
Because I get calls. I said, send me an email. He sent me an email. I didn't have time to read it. He sent me another one. Eventually, I read it and thought, okay, and connected 3 people. Boom, he's getting what he wants. And this guy, Thomas, at OR Tambo, was the guy, the checking as you go through, beep, 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 beep. And I have a titanium knee, so it goes off all the time. So I'm getting these massages every time I go to OR Tambo. And this guy, Thomas, said, I know you, you're Mr. Rob. He said, please, can I take your number? I want to improve my life. I want to get a better job. I gave him my number. I got him an interview, and he's in the interview process with Fly Sapphire. If it works, it works. But he didn't let me go. I mean, he was like, I'm not letting your knee go until you take my number. It's great. I love that. It's, obviously I don't want everyone dive tackle me at airports, but I love dynamism and people wanting to improve their lives. I think it's brilliant.
Last point, sorry, Sbu, is the kids that are going to go out of their way must also add value. So it's one thing to meet Sbu, but meet Sbu with something for him. Sbu is inundated, Rob is inundated with hundreds of thousands of people. Ubulelani is a T.
Yeah, Bulelani Balabala.
He speaks about this thing of when you meet a well-off guy, offer to pay for the meal. Something that's just unique. Rob is always giving you guys gifts. Hi, Mr. HERSOV, nice to meet you. I got you a gift. Hey, I see you always giving people gifts. I thought I'd give you something. That add value. That's the best way to be mentored. Giving value. And if you can work for that person, find a way to work for them and just add as much value as possible. This guy worked for Rupert Murdoch. So if we need like media 101 and how to colonize the minds of people, Rob is the guy.
Colonize the
Yeah,
minds.
but make sure that you're adding value in the person's life, because it becomes the easiest way for them to impart. But if you're just here to suck, it's the easiest way to get them to switch off.
And before we continue, you showed me something that I've only seen Mark Zuckerberg display on his Meta platform. Let's go right ahead.
So,
Ray-Bans.
so this friend of mine that I went to school with, Michael Haas, 47 years ago, was reconnected with me a few months ago, Henry Mansell. And he and I were in the same house, same class and everything. And Henry, you don't remember the story, but I'm going to tell it now. He's the only guy that we had a fight behind the gym. Okay, the only guy I had a fight with, and he knocked me out.
What's his name?
Henry Mansell.
Shout out to Henry.
Shout out.
That's my boy.
Anyway, Henry and I reconnected, and he was in the south of France. And for some reason, he ended up finding these glasses, and he bought 20 of them. And he was giving them out to his staff and his friends. And he brought a few to South Africa and gave me one. This is a Ray-Ban Meta pair of glasses. You put it on, Pen. You look better than me.
No, you're the good-looking
James Blonde. Okay,
blonde,
ready?
what guy here?
James Bond. These glasses are connected by Bluetooth to my phone. They've got a camera. You just go click, and it videos. Here's the little camera here.
There's 2 lenses on both sides.
Just one here.
Okay.
And it videos everything that I'm watching, and battery 100%. And then you click on here and you listen to music, or you listen to phone calls, or it's very, very cool. And this is the charging device. Goes in here, bang, with a little device. And you charge it in there and see, look, it's shining away. And it's a very cool little thing.
Mm.
So, who knows?
These are some of the things why we strive so hard to take our kids to good schools. It's not only for the education, but it's the network, right? Because I heard you speak about, I spoke about Warren earlier. You said you went to Michael House with him.
No, Warren he was at school here in Joburg. He also played rugby.
Sure.
He was kind of
But you
fierce
get
in
the
rugby.
point, right?
Yeah. I mean, I met Warren through business, and he just became a friend like Penn and me. He's like,
Henry was at Michael House.
Henry Mansell was at Michael House, exactly. And I mean, Michael House obviously has extraordinary graduates. I mean, the Enthovens went to Michael House, the Sackos, I can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And that's an incredible network too. Unless you upset most people like I do by doing podcasts. I lose more friends than I make.
Have you?
But I went to Harvard Business School.
Yeah.
And my year, class of 89 in America, are now running all the biggest companies. Amgen, Bob Bradway is running the second biggest pharmaceutical company in the world. Greg Case is running Aon, the biggest insurance broker in the world. So just by being at Harvard Business School, I have direct access to those people. So Michael House, Andrew Robertson, Devesh McCann. You know Devesh?
No.
He's a billionaire South African in San Francisco, runs Iconic Fund, $60 billion fund. And his investors are Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, my class old boy. And these people are just part of my broader network, let alone the people I met with Rupert Murdoch, with Johan Rupert. So don't compete with me. Work with me as a friend because I can help. And I couldn't be happier picking up the phone to Warren Wheatley and connecting because I know Warren will be interested in meeting you for Altvest. It's so easy for me. And Pen's right. Other people should do the same. It's no skin off my back. Warren's a smart guy. He'll listen to your story. He'll know if it's going to work or not. And it is going to work. He'll help you. And we're givers, you know. You are, Pen is. We help each other.
You talk about free market capital, capitalism. Capitalism. What do they call it? Capitalism.
Konje, you're from Tembisa.
Tembisa high ndo.
Ish, Elon, Tembisa here. Yeah, free market capitalism. Newcastle High. Shout out. Free market capitalism.
Free market capitalism. And you've got a lot of platforms that you've shared, ways and ideas that you think can change this country. And right now, there's a lot of division that is happening on the internet, especially with Elon Musk and Trump. And I'd like for us to get into that convo later.
So
There's
a lot of division in South Africa right now, but it's created by propaganda. You know, South Africans are, in the main, conservative, Christian, church-going, good people that want a better life for their family. And South Africans are capitalists. I mean, you're a capitalist. Your business is pure capitalism. Your business is capitalism. We are natural capitalists. There's no one more capitalist than a spaza shop owner and a South African taxi driver. You know, they're going down the outside lane to get back to pick up more people as quickly as possible. It's about building businesses, making money, and getting the government out of the way. And recently, there's been a lot of blame called whiteness, colonialism, apartheid, and it's nonsense. It's ANC Youth League and MK propaganda and EFF propaganda. The ANC doesn't want to take responsibility for the last 10 years of wrecking this country. So what do? They blame whiteness, apartheid, colonialism. That stuff's gone. It's gone.
No, it's not.
But we should be working together to fix this country. And it's easier than you think. That we just need, let's call it the GNU, okay? I was going to say, ANC,
As an
to
example.
put the hand up and say, we need less government, not more government. We need to sell the state-owned enterprises, get rid of them. They're just costing money. And let's let entrepreneurs like Zakes free to build businesses. Let's take the red tape out of the way, the regulation out of the way. It's just government is getting in the way of fixing this country.
Is it a good thing to sell state-owned enterprises, Mr. Penel?
There's not an easy answer to that. I just wanted to read the definition of free market capitalism for people that may not know. It's an economic system, this is very important, where private businesses own and control the factors of production with minimal government intervention, as Rob said, and where prices, production, and labor are determined by the forces of supply and demand. One of the reasons I have an issue with free market capitalism is because it's in the same WhatsApp group as democracy. It sounds very nice for people that are knowledgeable to promote it. Democracy is great, free market capitalism, but it's at the expense of those that are ignorant. And in a country where people are undereducated, not educated, it's very easy to exploit them because they don't understand these things. So it's like willing buyer, willing seller, but you don't know that your land is worth 50 million. You're just happy to get 10 cows for your land. But because I know that, I'm like, but it was a fair deal. So I struggle with free market capitalism and democracy for those reasons. Capitalism versus socialism, and I know this is a debate, but communism has never really existed in the world, at least with the end goal of saying no government. The whole idea of communism is community. The people own everything. What we've seen in China, the Soviet Union, is aggressive socialism with authoritarianism, where you've got a dictator who claims he's working for the people, ends up having a lot of power and sometimes bullying people and messing things up. The big fight is between capitalism and socialism. The problem with socialism that we have in the world today is those that claim to support socialism rely on capitalists to fund whatever projects that they have. If our state-owned enterprises in this country, SAA, the SABC, Transnet, Eskom, when we still had it, ISCO and the like,
The ports.
if they were running profitably and they were making money, and government's like, we don't even need to tax you guys. Our SOEs are making such good money. SAPCs throughout Africa, we're expanding overseas. ESCOM is supplying the whole of Africa. We've gone nuclear, and we wouldn't need to tax ordinary people because government would be running the socialist agenda so well. The problem is specifically our government and many others. They use socialism to, number one, overhire unnecessarily bloated institutions. They use socialism to loot the institutions, because it's one thing to say this is a state-owned enterprise. It's another thing to realize the ESCOM, the people making the money are the private companies that are suppliers, which are capitalists, but you call it a socialist enterprise. And then after they've failed and they've made losses, then they want to tax the capitalists to come and bail them out, which is why capitalists get upset, and I understand. But should we be selling the SOEs? Ideally, no. But not under governments like ours. But in the same breath, I'm too scared to hand over our SOEs to private capital because I don't trust them either. If you look at their track record in this country, they complain about government, but they haven't given us proof of concept on how they do better. It's almost like the DA.
Can I stop you here?
Go for it.
So you're wrong on 50% of what you say. You really are. You're mixing and confusing things, much as I love you. Let's take aviation as the best example of all. South African Airways, by the way, all the state-owned enterprises were run efficiently, effectively, and in most cases profitably under the apartheid government.
You're right.
I mean, they had competent,
but there's a
efficient
disclaimer there.
Let's just move on.
No, we can't. No,
I didn't stop you.
You did.
I didn't stop you 10 times when you were on
No, I'm not
Rampage,
stopping you 10 times.
and I
Rob.
could have, because you were a lot of
you stopped me once. You never let me finish. It's okay. I'm just saying you have to add the disclaimer. The apartheid government was very efficient. I will agree with you. But you have to add the disclaimer that it was at the expense of the majority of the people. Otherwise, it becomes a horrible example.
Not true. The ports operated for all of South Africa. The airports for those who could fly for all of South Africa, but also for cargo. The railways for all of South Africa. Transport for all of South Africa. Denouncing, which sold armaments, whether you agree with it or not, the money came back to South Africa, however it was used. They were run efficiently. Cadre deployment destroyed the state-owned enterprises, and socialism and central control destroyed the state-owned enterprise. The ANC cannot run state-owned enterprises, and Penn's right. It's perfect for looting. But let's take aviation. I want to do two examples. One is Ethiopia. Ethiopia set up Ethiopian Airlines. The government, it's government-owned. Ethiopian Airlines is government-owned. They hired initially an American management team who put a business plan together, and they gave Ethiopian Airlines a lot of money and said, build the best airline in Africa, but make it profitable. And the profits stay within Ethiopian Airlines. They're used to improve the planes, improve the airports, improve the routes. Ethiopian is now a profitable, 100% state-owned airline. Huge success. And we could have and should have done that with South African Airways if the ANC hadn't destroyed it and stolen it to death. I mean, Dudu Mayeni is chairman. What does she know about aviation? She was there to let the Guptas steal. Example number one, Ethiopian Airlines, state-owned enterprise, successful. That could have and should have been South African Airways.
Sorry, what did the Guptas steal from SAA?
The Guptas stole from everyone.
No, from SAA.
Dudu Mayeni was there to let people steal.
Yeah, what did the Guptas steal?
Second example in aviation.
Sorry, Rob. What did the Guptas steal?
The Guptas stole R1 trillion
from SAA.
From all the state-owned entities.
No, I'm just saying because you're lying, so we need to be very careful. What did the Guptas steal from SAA?
Oh, let me get back to you on that. The Guptas stole this country blind, thanks to Jacob Zuma, the buddy you love. You
do know that at SAA, only 3% of the suppliers were black. So when you speak about looting,
here's how they looted. Do you want to hear how they looted?
And editor, we've got time. We've got time.
No, but we've got time. You know how they looted? Every plane they bought, particularly from the French, there was a commission, and the commission would go to Lutuli House. That's how they stole. But let me give you the second example. We're talking about state-owned enterprises, okay? South African Airways was bankrupted by the ANC. Incompetence, stealing, and incompetent cadres like Dudu Mayeni being put in place. They overhired, like you said, and they destroyed the airline, bankrupted it. It's got a 50 or 100 billion debt. It's finished. It's flying again. And they say, it's profitable. It's profitable on 25 planes. What happened was, as South African Airways collapsed, Airlink, FlySafair, Semair stepped into the breach. And for those people that fly, we're flying happily. We don't need South African Airways. We don't need a state-owned enterprise. So you don't trust capitalists. But what has happened is the private companies that pay tax to the government have stepped into the breach. The same thing can happen. We can have privatization by default in water, sewage, electricity, and everything else. We don't need morons in Pretoria, whether they're Nats or ANC, making decisions on our behalf. And that's the difference between central control, which Penn seems to love and doesn't work, versus the free market, which is you, and you making all the decisions. That's the difference. And Penn, your distrust of capitalism is, I don't know where this comes from.
I don't support central government.
You do support central government.
I don't.
Well, then what do you support? I mean, it's very confused,
So before you interrupted me, I was trying to explain
Before you interrupted me.
I was trying to explain the two sides, the capitalism and the socialism, and why in the current climate we have a problem, at least in South Africa. We have no choice for now but to marry the two. And even with both of them, if you don't fix the leadership, it doesn't work.
Correct.
You can go capitalist. Zakes Kitchen can be owned by yourself, private ownership, profit maximization, all those things. But if you're a bad leader, if you're incompetent, if you're greedy, if you exploit your laborers and all those things, chances are it's not going to survive in the long run. If government comes and takes over Zakes Kitchen and it becomes an SOE, but they're looting it, there's never stock and the like, it's the same. The conclusion I wanted to get to was, you can have no government, you can have only government. At the end of the day, if you've got the wrong people on either side, whatever ism you want to give it almost doesn't matter.
Correct.
And in my opinion, I have not seen in this country that the capitalists have proven such a great case study that even the average person is like, socialism actually doesn't work.
Sorry.
All we hear, unfortunately, is the failures of socialism and the ANC. That's apparent. And many of us agree with it. But it's being said by people that are not proving a case study. And I was using the example of the DA. The DA is saying, but look at Cape Town. And very correctly, Gayton McKenzie at Biz News was saying, prove your concept eKukulethu, eKhayelitsha, Kwalanga, Enyang, ePhilippi, Ponte Yevel, Mitchell's Plain. Prove it there so that all of us can be like, Ntwana, look at what the DA is doing there. Phela, the Western Cape Deep Kloof is Sprayed View. I also want to live like that. But until they do that and they show Cape Town with these rich people that have private security and high walls and send their kids to private schools, I can't buy into that.
Sorry, Penn, you're extrapolating a confused, you're talking about socialism, capitalism, and all of a sudden you're talking about DA and Deep Kloof. I'm sorry, that you extrapolate one confusing message as a fact, like Noto does, by the way, into something that's completely disconnected to try and prove a point.
Okay.
You're actually missing the point. Let's stick to socialism, capitalism.
That's okay.
You say capitalism hasn't proved itself. Look at the capitalist countries in the world and look at the happiness index and look at the richest countries as a percentage of GDP. Okay? GDP growth, happiness index, every single one of the top 20 countries in the happiness index, it's an official index, are capitalist. Every single one. And you say capitalism doesn't work. I mean, sometimes, Penn,
So I must read that article and just agree.
It's the fact. This
According
is the
to an
problem
article.
between...
No, I'm just asking.
No, the happiness index is a UN backed report, and it looks at education, health, every single factor, including GDP growth, every single factor. Every single one of those countries is capitalist, and you say capitalism doesn't work.
The UN works with organizations that Donald Trump that you like doesn't
It's not
like.
written by the UN. It's an independent research that everybody endorses. Look it up. Look up happiness index. If I sent it to you, you wouldn't read it. I've sent you books begging you to read them. You won't read them. There's some form of indoctrination that you cannot pass beyond. And this is where we end up fighting.
It's okay.
I mean, I just wish you would read the one book that I keep sending and begging you to read. It's called Freedom. How we created it and why it's so important. And you refuse to. There are 3 pages on capitalism in there. I've given you a copy. Why won't you read it?
Ufuna ukukhuluma?
Hayi, khulumani.
So I don't really believe in the universe and fate and those things, but sometimes I think I'm proven wrong. I wasn't meant to be in Joburg this week. I was meant to travel. And, Rob had reached out to me to tell me he'll be in Joburg. And I'd apologize to him to say that I won't be available, unfortunately, but we can try and maybe look into next week in Cape Town to meet up. And thank you so much to Annette, always, for trying to organize.
Thank you, Annette, for...
Thank you, Annette.
Yeah, shout out to Annette, man. She's a trooper.
She is. She's worked with me 32 years.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's loyalty.
I must be doing something right in my life, despite what you
She must be very strong. Very strong.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer now what I said I didn't want to answer at the time now. So yesterday you asked for us to have a sit down and I told you, look, I can't confirm because I wasn't sure if I was traveling all the way till, I think 2 hours before I came here.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be here. But luckily I made it here and you'd said, look, there's a surprise. And as soon as I came in, I saw Rob. I'm like, this is the universe. It's like, I don't care. These guys are going to meet no matter what. I've been angry with Rob for the past couple of weeks. And not just him, but a bunch of very influential white voices in this country. Ernst van Zyl, Afriforum, Ernst Roots, who was at Afriforum Solidarity. We've sat with him on the Hustlers Corner. He's gone on to create, I think, the Pioneers, or there's an organization he set up. Musician, very knowledgeable musician. He's shared some really cool information with me. The Kiffness.
Michael Houseboy. Yeah. We're everywhere.
Of course, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, etc. There's a lot of guys that have been saying a lot of things about this country that have really upset me personally. Never mind other people. I can't speak for other people. I can't speak for the EFF and other angry black people. So Rob goes on platforms, and some of these other guys go on platforms. He was on the Rubin Report, which is a really brilliant American platform. And some of the things they said or were saying were very triggering. And it triggered me more because I've known Rob for a short while now, but I've tried my best to offer the courtesy of listening and understanding. And I've been trying to be understanding more than the average black child. So when you say Michael House and, the boys and the rugby and what, I'm like, trust, I understand. We grew up in Nabongamla. That's why our parents sent us there to understand. So when a white guy is losing his job because they're bringing a black girl in to tick a box, I'm like, bro, I'm so sorry, I understand. And I try in that conversation to explain where we come from and why that black girl was brought in. I don't need him to agree with me, but I'm hoping that he'll listen to understand and be like, but that's rubbish. So I can't hate the black girl. She did nothing wrong.
Correct.
But I have to look at where we come from and why now this thing is here. And is it what's best? Is it sustainable? And
is it right for South Africa?
And is it right for South Africa? And in all the things that they've said, I realized that they haven't been listening.
But what triggered you in what I said? What specifically?
Sorry, let him finish.
Yeah. I want to hear that.
Uropi time. We're raised as African children to respect our elders, whatever that may be. Julius Malema was accused of being disrespectful to elders in the ANC at a time. So outside of black, white, whatever privilege, whatever the case may be, Rob is like my father. And we have that. It falls under Ubuntu inhlonipho. So I always need to have a line where Rob could be a black timer telling me why the EFF is the way. Why socialism? Pen, why didn't you read that book? You'd know if you read Karl Marx and Lenin.
That's another Rob.
And I'm like, but I'm trying to explain why socialism is not like the only thing and why you guys spend too much time with white kids and what. And I'm like, so then you keep quiet at some point because like at the end of the day, I'm a lighty as well. And then later on, that same time I was going to go out and say, white people are destroying and what. I'm like, but you work for a white company and we do this. And I'm like, why would you say that? What are we trying to achieve here? Are we actually trying to do unity or are we all just lying to each other? And we're pretending like, let's have a laugh and speak about the classes and Zakes kitchen. But to be honest, it's like, no, I actually came here to push a black agenda. or I'm here to push a white agenda, or a socialist, whatever name you want to call it. And we're actually not serious about unity and getting this country to move forward. So I was hurt because I'm one of the few, I'll include maybe a Musi Maimani, a Herman Mashab, and all these guys, these clever black coconut guys who are understanding of the struggles that Ongamla go through. You're on a big farm by yourself with your family. You're scared. That's why you have guns. You're scared. It's a scary place to be. So when you get attacked or you hear someone got attacked, so something has to trigger you. It's like when you hear Jocelyn Smith was kidnapped or sold, that thing touches you. When you hear Ukok or somewhere was molested and killed, that has to hit you. So I'm like, bro, I understand. When you try and raise the issues of the Cape Flats or the what, you're met with condescension and being patronizing. Yeah, but it's black people and it's what. I'm like, these guys are not listening. And then they go and they peddle Elon Musk even recently is peddling the white genocide, false propaganda still. Tucker Carlson sits with Aaron's Roots, and shame, I have huge respect for Aaron's Roots. And I listened to all the things he said because he's hyper intelligent, very well read. And he measured all the words he said, and outside of maybe the Pretoria reference, which was wrong of him to reference, all the other things he said, he never mentioned things like white genocide and Tucker Carlson was trying to shove that down his throat. And it's like, that's not really what I'm saying. So it's hurt me and it's made me think that maybe some of us are just delusional. And I don't know where my thoughts are going to lead to. Because I was Christian and I became atheist, and today I'm sympathetic to religious people. So maybe at some point I'll go back to Springboks and Unity,
He's an all black fan.
Rainbow Nation. But where I'm at right now, it feels like some of the most influential white voices don't believe in unity and don't believe in the capabilities and capacities of black people. And some of the big black voices are not even countering that. They're not even bothering. Or Ramaphosa are not even making an effort to actually... I used to get annoyed by his family meetings about COVID. He knows how to get on a TV station and tell us whatever, but he can't address these things that can affect tourism, foreign investment, and just relations. The nation you're meant to be governing is fighting amongst each other, but you're not even addressing that as a leader. But I'm not surprised by him, specifically the president. So what we're left with is this bickering. And those of us who are sympathetic, myself, people like Owandile Sihlobo, Dr. Mtimka and the likes, that try to be impartial. When you're impartial, you get bashed by both sides. How could you say this? If you'd only read the book, that's condescending. Why would you think I haven't read the book? Because I don't agree. Why would you think I'm lost? Because you're an elder to me, and I respect you, and I respect all the value you've added in my life, I listen, but when you allow me to engage and to debate and I say things and you get upset, you're telling me to keep quiet. You're telling me to not ask. You're telling me I must just laugh when you're laughing. And when you're angry, I must toy with you. And you actually don't care about my opinions and what I actually think will take us forward. And it's like, then I guess we're the idiots that believe in some type of unity, and unity is not real. And in closing, Trevor Noah asked this on the What Now podcast. It was a philosophical question, but luckily it came at the right time because Trevor also hasn't addressed the racial tensions at the very least and the misinformation. Maybe for his own reasons. We don't need him to. He doesn't owe us anything. Was integration a bad idea? We had apartheid, very efficient government in getting things done, but it oppressed black people and it kept them out of the mainstream economy. Stephen Bantu Biko had the black community programs, which were about self-empowerment. When the guys in Oranje speak about self-doing and self-determination, black consciousness was about that. When we speak about the Black Panthers in America, when we speak about your Marcus Garvey, who became a serious capitalist, very successful capitalist, using community funding, by the way. And then you look at what's happened to all of those guys, your Malcolm X's and your Louis Farrakhan's, and then you look at the South African story where now Herman Mashaba is being bashed because he's not singing according to the hymn sheet anymore. And you're like, so when we're not singing, there's something wrong with us. We must only sing when we don't sing with, we get called names. It's very disrespectful. It's very belittling, and it makes you lose hope because you thought Sbuda was my guy. But you realize Sbuda actually doesn't see you. And you're like, okay.
Rob,
Sure. That was the convo show for the last 20 minutes. I didn't interrupt. Pen, that's nonsense. A lot of it is self-seeking, soul-searching, and I get it, okay? But think about it for a second being a white guy. For a second. I know you've tried. For 30 years, because of apartheid, because of the history, black commentators have had a moral superiority and ability to say what they like, to bash white people around, to treat us in the way they wanted to treat us. And 3.5 years ago, I stood up and said something no one had ever said before, and it broke the dam. And people are now saying and speaking and wanting a proper dialogue. And for the first time, when whomever triggers you, you flip out. Isn't it time you also heard what they said? You've had a monopoly on saying things. And I follow your show. I love it. I love you. And I listen to everything you say. But one day to the next, you can say different things. And you spray it out there because you can. You're allowed to. But we're not allowed to. We're not allowed to. The minute we start saying things, it's the enemy, it's evil, we're not listening to you. I think the reality is you're not listening to us. You haven't given us a chance to say what we want to say because you've had the stage for so long. You're used to monologuing for so long. And I want us to have a debate. I want us to throw things out on the table. Things that aren't said, ought to be discussed. I'm up for that. And I really would love to do that with you, with Sbu, with others, and have that conversation. But let me ask you a specific question. I did 10 minutes with Dave Rubin. What triggered you? What did I didn't mention genocide. There is no genocide. There is no genocide. I agree. On land expropriation, the bill is the horrific thing, keeps away foreign direct investment. But are land being invaded? Maybe tiny here and there, but it's not really happening. I agree with you. And Ernst didn't say that, and I didn't say it. So what triggered you on my Dave Rubin? It was 10 minutes only. What specifically triggered you? What did I say in those 10 minutes that triggered you? We can leave it like that and not answer it. I mean, I don't think I did. I think you're lumping me in with everyone else just because I had the audacity to be on an American podcast, and I'm going to do more. But I agree, there is no genocide. There really isn't. And land invasions haven't happened yet. And expropriation without compensation hasn't really happened yet. But it's like having a loaded gun in the bedroom with children running around. At some point, some kid's going to pick up the gun and pull the trigger. So don't walk away from unity. Walk towards unity. Let's get together, have the difficult conversations, argue, fight, make up, and let's make this country happen. I'm as frustrated as you are for different reasons, because I see a government that is completely incompetent and incapable and holding the country back. And you talk about capitalists and central government oppressing. This ANC government has 28 million people on social grants, undereducated, with no health, unemployed, and with no future whatsoever. That's oppression. So let's work together. Let's have those conversations. Please, don't give up. Sbu, what about your comment?
I'd like to hear your thoughts, but before you do, I want to say this very briefly. Unfortunately, Twitter is a very dangerous space. It's a sewage pit, and it seems the algorithms are getting worse, and it seems there's more bots. I still believe in a lot of the good work that Afriforum does. I get criticized a lot
Respect for saying
for anything I say about Afriforum, and it's okay, I understand. I'm hoping that specifically Black communities can learn from the idea of setting up a nonprofit organization, collecting money, solving your own problems, especially things like closing potholes, building your own schools and the like, which are the things that I admired about them. I don't support the politics of Afriforum. And of course, it becomes difficult when the politics is so loud and it almost looks intertwined. So I guess in the same breath, there are so many things I respect about Rob in particular, but other people who maybe support Rob and support some of his views, a lot of the good work. And it's not to say I discount any of that, but where we differ is in the politics, and it's very upsetting because the politics has a direct impact on some of our lives. And I'll just say that I have the ability to separate. I won't take away the things Rob teaches us and the opportunities that we may be given and the knowledge and, eating amakoporo. I will never take that away. Most other people struggle with that. They bunch everything together. More than anything is the politics. Unfortunately, the politics does affect real life. And it's quite sad for me.
But on the flip side, you would also disparage EFF's politics, like jumping up and down, kill the Boer, one farmer, one bullet. I mean, that's horrific on Human Rights Day. So you would agree that if you don't like the politics of Afriforum, you can't like the politics of EFF. That's racism and hatred.
So I won't comment on the EFF, but I will say personally, I don't think we should be chanting Dubuli Bono and kill the Boer anymore. That's me. I understand its significance in history, to be archived, the relevance of what that chant meant. But especially in the last couple of years, seeing what the song does and dividing, we've now got proof of concept that when you sing the song, people fight. You probably shouldn't be doing it anymore.
It's hatred.
So
it's
just on the song itself, and that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Sbuda.
So you know what we should do? We should put these on. Don't you think?
Because we're cooking for real. Yeah,
Cook, guys.
There's unity. I mean, come on. We all.
If it's too hot and you can't stand it, get out of the kitchen.
Exactly.
And let the guys cook. If you're such an influential voice, Rob, and you've got opportunities to also get on other American platforms, which I'm obviously sure they're huge. I checked out that 10 minutes.
I'm going to mention Zakes.
Tell them about Zakes Kitchen and More Fire.
Yeah.
And actually, when I checked it out, that clip at the time was at 500,000 views, right? And it's a big platform. As much as you don't agree with a lot of the other things that are being said, why can't you speak against what Elon Musk is doing? Why can't you use your influence to tell the truth that farm murders are not? And I will. Crime is crime.
And I will.
South Africa, we understand.
And I will.
It's dividing the country.
And I will.
Why do we let this lie, this fire just become so big and we all just keep quiet because it's doing damage to all of us?
So I will do that if you guys denounce the EFF and it's kill the Boer and all this hatred in the studio. I'll do my job or you do yours. Is that fair?
It is all of our job to make sure before we deal with domestic politics, when the whole world is now against us.
I'm asking you for a deal. It's that simple.
And we're being divided, Rob. We're being divided by the very guy who comes from this country.
I know, but EFF's dividing us too by the hatred.
His
How come you black guys won't take the deal? I'll say to the fact that there's no genocide going on and there are no farm invasions, and you guys denounce EFF because you're too scared to do it.
But why can't you text Elon Musk and tell him?
I'll do it. But why don't you call Julius and tell him to back off on the EFF hate slogans? Come on.
But do you understand what?
Too scared?
But do you understand what he's just said?
Yes, I'll do it.
Do you understand?
I'll do it.
I've
said yes. These guys are like backpedaling.
Which guys?
We don't.
So I started.
Specifically.
Rob, I started.
No, I spooted it.
No, I hear you. I'm just saying, don't add me because I started by saying I support the work Afriforum does.
No, you were fine.
I didn't say I'm denouncing Afriforum. So similarly, I said I don't support the song.
I hear you loud and clear.
So don't ask me to denounce the EFF. Okay.
So I'm not a politician, right? But I'm a patriotic South African. Love this country.
Well, then you should be easy saying it.
I'm like all of us, Rob. But if you're such an influential voice, why do you just let that go?
I've told you I'm going to do it. Okay. You have my word. Now, will you also stand up and preach love instead of hate?
Let's deal.
And Julius and the EFF are hate. They're divisive. You should be anti them.
I'm not anti anyone. I love everyone, right? So I love everyone. So what I'm going to do, Rob,
putting you on the spot, Spoon.
I'm going to organize a beautiful live debate with an audience.
Okay.
And we'll invite Julius as well to come and join us.
Oh, I'd rather have a cage fight with him.
No, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong about different, differing on ideologies, but there's nothing wrong being in the same room and opening up a discussion or a debate and inviting the public to
bring me in, baby.
On a big platform. We'll organize it. And Annette, I will be organizing that over the next couple of months.
He doesn't get 20-minute monologue like someone we know. There's a time, one of those salt timers. So when his time runs out, he stops. My turn, he stops. Because otherwise these guys go banging on and on and on, and they don't stop talking. You have to be the moderator.
But
Is that a deal?
The same here.
I'm happy.
Here it's not
No, he's my buddy.
an official
Love him.
debate. You guys can go on and on.
But with
And I'm glad
Julius,
you've got time.
Julius
You've got
gets
time, I've got
5
time.
minutes. I get 5 minutes. Okay, deal?
Julius gets
Because you know what these guys are like. They don't shut up.
No, man. All of you all will get enough time.
People who don't have intelligent things to say talk for a very long time. People who have facts, short to the point. Watch.
Do
You'll see.
I don't know. People will measure who spoke the most in this episode.
You by miles.
Spuda, you're evading.
Smooth.
I'd
You're
like
really
to-
giving us these. I need a drink.
You can open when you open
No.
the praise for it. It says
Do they spray?
it says Tiko. No, it says Tiko.
Okay. Come on, pen.
Tiko.
Titko.
That means God given. Yeah. So you're blessed.
Titko.
And it's a cause. Tiko is God.
Isikosa.
God. Yes.
Is
Because
it
it's, South African language. You know it, right?
I do.
So I'd like you to share your thoughts on the little bit that you heard. I know it's not comprehensive, but just a little bit since you're here.
For me, the first thing I wanted to speak about was this international lies, misinformation that is all over the world. And now because we're on a podcast and it's an internet platform, and I know this episode is going to be big and it's going to have a lot of beautiful bite-sized...
You got 3 rock stars here.
No, you got 2
You're the one Madala rock star.
and I'm glad
I'm glad to.
that when Rob goes ahead, he'll be able to,
100%.
extinguish in his own corner, in his own way. But then how do we also extinguish it properly when Elon has weaponized Twitter? Is this what he wants to do with Starlink too?
Listen, the left wing weaponized mainstream media. So let's just put it in perspective.
This is in America, right?
Correct. But, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the LA, whatever, have been weaponized by the left wing and CNN, MSN. I mean, horrendous.
Does that mean it's a good thing to do?
It's a bad thing.
Is this what
News should be news. It should be reporting, and it should be somewhat factually correct and somewhat independent. You can be slightly left, slightly right, but the left has weaponized and propagandized media for so long that everyone's, oh my gosh, the center right has now weaponized X. It's like a nice change, a nice swing in the pendulum, I think.
So do you solve it by doing the same when you buy the platform? Is this the reason why you bought the platform?
I think he opened it up. He took away the dictatorial left who were cutting off so many voices, and he's actually opened it up.
But
You see it as weaponization.
But Rob, what
I
he's
see it
doing
as
against-
freedom.
What he's doing against his own home country.
He doesn't really believe South Africa stands a chance, do you know?
But he writes it and he knows that he's followed by millions of people.
So would you agree that Starlink would be an incredible thing for all South Africans?
That I agree, but with what he's doing with Twitter,
Then why force BEE on Starlink?
with what he's doing, because those are the laws. You've got over 600 American companies that
Bullshit
operate,
laws.
yeah, and they're successful.
Do you need BEE still? If
Of
we can
course.
operate on merit, why do you still need BEE?
He's just called an alt-verse guy, and he just linked me with him in a couple of seconds. And it shows the privileges that you have. And I don't enjoy those privileges.
No, I bring them to you.
And I understand that, but I'm driving a point here.
No, but you'll have privileges I don't have.
We need to redress the
So you,
imbalances.
so you think it's we can't operate on merit yet?
We can't, not yet, not now.
Well, at least you be
Not
honest.
by a mile, Rob.
Buddy, that's all I'm
Hundreds
asking.
of years of what has happened in the past.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
And I know
I just wanted you to say, I just wanted you to answer it yes, no, and you did, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
So
it's
so,
not now.
so you think you need all the leg ups possible?
You know that, Rob.
No, I wanted you to say it. It's
Yeah.
not for me to say.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we do.
Okay. All
We
right.
do.
That's all I needed to know.
But we need to still find a way to fix this country. We can't have the guy who's got the biggest platform in the world, the richest guy in the world, who is also listened to by the whole world and Americans, sending misinformation about his own home
No,
country.
but I've already said I'll
You know what I mean?
I'll correct that in misinformation.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean he believes the ANC is good for South Africa. They're not.
He should at least say that.
That they're a disaster. I'll get him to say that.
He shouldn't say there's farm murders, there's killings.
I will correct. I'll bring him the fact. There are farm murders, by the way. But I'll bring him the facts.
There's
to-
murders, period.
Do you know it's no, wait, hear the fact. It's 3 times more likely to be killed as a farmer than a policeman, and a policeman twice as likely to be killed as a civilian. Farmer in this country is the most dangerous profession. So there are, I mean, Cyril is a liar when he said there are no farm murders. He's spineless and a liar. He lies. The farm murders are out of control statistically, and that's factual. It's not just white farmers, it's all colors. So it's a horrific thing that's been pushed under the rug by ANC because Bheki Cele was corrupt, dangerous, a thug, and should be in jail. He did nothing to help South Africa, and it's good that he's gone. So farm murders are happening, but land invasions aren't, and genocide isn't. I agree with you, and I'll correct that.
And let's talk about the land expropriation bill. What do you understand about it, and why is the message being sent to the world as if farms
It's the stupidest title for a bill you could ever think of. Expropriation without compensation. No one's going to read the detail. And in the detail is that there is a form of consultation. It has to be in the public interest. You have recourse to courts. I agree. But how stupid can you be to call it expropriation without compensation? No foreigner is going to read the rules. They're just going to say, I'm not investing. They should have called it necessary securing of land in public interest. Or I'm sure you can think of a 3-word acronym. That's what it should have been called. And that's what it is. But the morons called it expropriation without compensation. Scares away foreign investment. It's just stupidity. So I agree with you. You know, read the rules and you'll understand that there is some form of due process. And has to be in the public interest. But the scary bit is not just land, it's anything. You take the watch off your arm. So it's just stupidity, really. But I agree, yeah.
Penzo, expropriation bill?
I wanted to start off by saying, crime is a problem in this country, and it's actually really sad. And it looks like it's gotten worse since 94. I think with being too liberal and welcoming, I mean, including us not having borders. There are people that are criminals that we can't even track.
Agree.
Right? Murder is the worst of the crimes. And it affects all of us, sadly. I don't mind people that are linked to farmers, farm workers speaking out on the murders there. They are allowed. If there are celebrities being killed, and celebrities come together and they speak out that celebrities are being killed. And we've lost celebrities recently, your DJ Somebody, your Kenan Forbes, aka people that were murdered. And we speak out. I don't mind. These are your people. The problem is the propaganda aspect of it, which becomes dangerous. We've got over 22,000 murders in South Africa every year. It's just too many. It's too many murders. 22,000.
Reported. They're probably more.
Of those murders, 50 to 70 are farm murders. Of the 22,000. 50 to 70. It's a very small number. It's not even a fraction. But no murder is obviously right, but it's a small number. Of those farm murders, we don't have the data of what is the racial breakdown of those people being killed.
We actually do.
We don't have a breakdown of whether it's a farm owner or a farm worker or someone that happened to be on a farm.
We actually do.
And we don't have a racial breakdown of the perpetrators. Who committed the murder? Are they even South African, as an example? So that makes it worse, because what happens when they send the story out is they say white farmers are being targeted. And now I've given certain numbers. And they don't necessarily give the numbers. The numbers they do give is a number which has not been verified of 4,000 farmers have been killed. And then they show a picture of white crosses where where farmers were buried. And you can imagine watching this, how this would trigger you. But they don't tell you over what period, who are these people, Ganjan, and what's the data for context.
But they've got the data.
And that makes me very sad, because then it becomes propaganda. And
Pen, where I agree with you fully, if I may, is that I think the foreigners that are poured into this country are a higher proportion of the crime and the murders and the problems. And I agree with you 100%. I think there are 10 million people undocumented from Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Congo in this country. You know, as Gayton McKenzie says, standing in line at Home Affairs, holding you up for 2 hours, in the hospital, you know, expecting services. It's out of control. We have no borders. And Ben, I think you're right. I think a lot of our problems in crime, I don't know what percent, 20, 50, are not local South Africans. It's undocumented people, and you have no idea how to track them down. I agree with you, Pen. It's a big problem.
Sure. Most people that comment on the expropriation bill, or act rather now, because it's been signed into law, haven't read it. It becomes one of the saddest things about the society we live in, that we're very big on headlines and rhetoric more than the substance. I'm one of the people, it's one of the things Rob and I agree on, that believe that the ANC, unfortunately, is incompetent and corrupt. It's very sad. I'm not saying all of them, but if we look at what's just been happening in this country and what the country looks like, for the average South African, they're not doing what they're meant to be doing for the people. So no matter how beautifully, and I think the ANC's had some of the most beautiful policies, by the way, since 94, beautiful when you read them, but then you have to look at the implementation. So if someone said, I've read the act, beautiful act, it makes a lot of sense. Government is saying if they want to build a highway, if they want to build a school, if they want to take a hijacked building, they can take it. And if they follow legal processes, they do not have to compensate. Because maybe the person stole it, maybe they can't find the owner, but they've gone through a rigorous process. It's not easy. Someone's read it, it's beautiful. I think the act makes a lot of sense. There are many countries with expropriation.
Why call it that?
No, I'm not part of the ANC. So I don't know. And then they'll say, no matter what you call it.
Cheers.
Hey, naming fag in a
By the
month.
way, I'm not a big energy drinker,
But
this
you
is
drink
delicious.
fire.
What guarana?
Guarana, yeah.
What is
So
guarana?
what is it?
Maybe we shouldn't ask.
It's not alcohol though. It's energy, sure.
I'd want people to say, I've read the act, it's beautiful. Many ANC policies, the NHI Act, the Bella Act, beautiful. I don't trust the guys that are meant to implement this thing. Because in the past, they've suggested this and this and this act, and this is what they've done with it. Because they could call it the Give White People Land Act. And then they go around grabbing land. And you're like, the name doesn't matter. People don't read it. So the act itself, in principle, is meant to address certain things. Expropriation is relevant the world over, including in the US. The government can expropriate land. It's not grabbing land, it's taking land in a way for the needs of the public.
Public interest.
And then you normally negotiate with the owners of the land. We've got the highway that goes through the Mia family land, Waterfall, Mall of Africa. There's a family that owns that land. You can expropriate that land in public interest. It's protected by the Constitution, etc. In the 30 years the ANC has been in government, there have been certain pieces of land that they've needed for public interest, where some of the owners either they can't find, it's hijacked, which is why they included property and not just land. And they're like, look, we've gone through all the legal process, but the law says, but you must compensate. Who? Where? They don't want. But we need this thing. And you're telling us if we had an act, we as the judges or as the law, we could override. Rob doesn't want to give his land, but there are so many people that need to build a school. The kids don't know where to go to school. They have to travel for 100 kilometers, what. He's refusing to accept any offer you want to give him. He's like, I'd rather die. The courts have tried to speak to him, Rob, look, they'll give you 100 million too. Nah, I don't want their stinky, dirty money. Then it's like, okay, we've tried everything. So we are now giving you a court order to say you can go take that land and you don't have to pay him because we've tried.
But in the wrong hands.
But the
as
problem
Ben
is
says,
the
yeah.
people that are meant to implement. So that's my opinion
I think
on
he's
the
right.
Expropriation Act.
Um,
Most people haven't read it. It has a lot of merit, which is why even the DA will go and support it. But I just don't trust the people that are meant to
Penn's
implement
nailed it. He's nailed that comment.
NHI, Bella.
I agree with you. The way it's named, it also sends the wrong message to the world.
Just take without
And that's what Donald Trump is believing.
Correct.
So I'm expecting you, when you do get an opportunity.
No, I said I would.
Okay.
Okay. You come with me, Penn. Why did you and Spoo come and why did you come on the room?
They're capturing Musbu in front of your eyes. Say something. Say something. Come on.
Let's go to those American podcasts, man, and go tell the truth.
Yeah.
It's not nice. It's not nice, Rob.
They're not interested. They're not interested. Aaron's roots, I have to defend Aaron's roots. In this, Aaron's roots, I disagreed with maybe 10% of his sit down with Tucker Carlson, and I have huge respect for Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. He's probably got the biggest interviews in the world, to be honest. Sitting with Vladimir Putin and the likes. No one gets that. Aaron's roots really tried to be as objective and impartial as possible.
True.
And Tucker was just, in the interview on the Rubin report, which I'm not going to get into with Rob also said some things, and the host was just also, and you're like, no, man, listen to what the guy is saying. Don't come be like, oh, that's terrible. So they, and you're like, but that's not what he said. Yeah. So I just want to say, go to wherever you want to go, the UK, America, just know that these guys are the kings of propaganda and whatever they're trying to sell. So you can say whatever you want. They'll ask you one question. And as soon as you give us, so there are white people that have been murdered on farms. They're killing white people. And that becomes the headline. And it's like, but Sbu went there and he also agreed that they're killing. So it's very dangerous. Propaganda is a very dangerous
game. Guys, for 30 years, under the umbrella of the Liberation ANC, everybody's felt like they have a moral superiority to say and do what they want. For the first time, international communities going, you know what? These ANC guys are corrupt, kleptocrats, ineptocrats. They're useless, leftists, anti-West. And the West are suddenly saying enough, clap. And everyone's going, oh, it's a terrible thing. Wake up and smell the roses. Our country stinks. We are deindustrializing, going backwards, destroying everything that matters, infrastructure, state-owned enterprises. When will people wake up, vote, kick the ANC into touch? Their sell-by date is long past. And the West is pointing it out for us, maybe in a way that you don't like from the American propagandists. But it's true. It's all of a sudden a wake-up call. Wake up, guys. The world has realized we are a disaster. We're a mess. This government is useless. The ANC government. Move them on. And that's what's happening. It's a shock for you guys. You're not used for the international community to say, what's the GNU? It's the, I think.
DA.
I know, but the ANC.
Because the DA has been defending those policies.
Still, the ANC has trade and industry, the Islamic run, foreign affairs, etc., etc. They have all the key levers of power. But, I went to a DA lunch about 3 weeks ago, and they had Leon Schreiber, John Steenhuisen, Dean McPherson, Solly Malatsi, all the ministers. And everyone had 15 minutes to say what they've done in the last 7 months. I was blown away how impressive what they've done in 7 months. Unbelievable. And I said to them,
what have they done?
I'm going to get them to, I wish I'd videoed it. And I said to the John Steenhuisen Chief of Staff, Chris Loebscher, I said, why aren't you videoing this? This is unbelievable. Everyone should know. Oh, we didn't think anyone would want to appear in a video in the audience. I said, well, put the camera in front of the speaker. So I'm going to do it. Get them to give me the 5 things each of these ministers have done in the last 7 months. It'll blow you away how impressive it is. And Gayton, he's instituted his own DOG, Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. It's called Department of Gayton Efficiency. And they've fired 1,700 ghost workers. They've not fired them because they didn't exist.
Yeah.
He's instituted.
Someone was eating.
Exactly. And in those ministries, the non-ANC ministries, incredible efficiencies. But ANC still have trade and industry, foreign affairs, all the ones that matter. So we need to get more PA and Carter, DA, EFF plus into the other ministries to fix them. Because the ANC can't do it.
Have you ever listened to ANC ministers speak about work they've done? No.
Not in the last 20 years.
One of the things that's upset me about the ANC, I don't support the ANC anymore, by the way. I used to.
Yeah.
One of their biggest failures has been their inability to market a lot of their wins.
But what are
the ANC has done a lot of really amazing things in this country. And I always cringe when I say this because it annoys me. It's almost like I'm defending them. They've done so many amazing things in this country, and their inability, this thing you're complaining about, is one of the things in the last 5-10 years I've said the ANC should put together a documentary and show the places where there were shacks, gravel road, there was no clinic, there was no school, show all the kids that are now doctors, engineers, and that would be their propaganda, of course.
It's a very short documentary.
But it should list facts so that we can crit them, because what we're meant to do, Doge, when we go to elections, we're meant to look at everyone who's campaigning, look at the work they've done with the minimal resources they have, so that we rate them on merit.
I agree.
Unfortunately, none of these guys do that.
Pen, you're right. That would be very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
But I think if you look in the last 10 years at all the statistics, economic growth, education, health, every single KPI, we've gone backwards. And that is ultimately what the ANC has done. So
no, I don't support the ANC.
They might have had wins here and there and there.
Yeah.
but they've basically destroyed the country in the last 10 years on every metric. And
The
it's
one thing we
fact.
both agree on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So enough about that. Let's talk about some positive stuff, Stu.
For
Let's talk about unity and the Springboks.
I would like for us to, focus more on solutions. And he's saying we don't have enough power on the camera or the technical side of things. But I'm looking forward to us.
Each a solution.
I'm looking forward to us having that public debate with the live audience. There's a lot of people who'd love to come through and attend it.
Love to.
We'll find a way. Let's organize it. But I'm humbled to meet you, and thank you very much for giving yourself some time to come see us. It really means a lot. And thanks a lot, Penzo. I missed you.
Thank you, Spoon.
I'm proud of everything you've
Thank
achieved,
you,
bro. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love you, man.
Yeah.
Put your hand here.
Yeah, man.
Three-way.
Dope convo. Thank you.
One more hand, Fen.
Last words to the camera, Penzo.
Age before beauty.
Oh, that's one, the middle one.
Rob, would you like to go first?
God is love.
Oh,
sorry,
Rob
Rob.
over there.
Okay. God is love. Love conquers all. Life is a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved.
Dope. Politics can really, really be emotionally triggering. And I know it's very difficult for all of us, but in the midst of all your outrage and stuff, please don't forget to do the tangible things. Don't forget to work hard. Don't forget to add value in your community. Don't forget to love your family. Keep trying to work with good people. I love using the Springboks as an analogy, Rob's favorite. We don't know the political leanings of the guys in the Springboks. We really don't. We don't know their religious backgrounds. Some of those guys could actually hate each other's guts, to be fully honest. But they have a unified vision, which is to win games, to win World Cups, to win trophies, etc. And in all the differences, they stay focused on that. So my message to all of you guys is in the midst of all the turmoil, as an individual, try to remain focused on the vision, which is to try and create a good community where you're living, and where you can have an influence, make a good and positive impact in the nation that you have. Sure.
Thank you very much to these two incredible South Africans. It's been awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Do remember, we do launch Zakes Kitchen on Uber Eats Easter weekend. I love you. I'll see you on the next video. Danko!
Guys, that was powerful.